A marathon is 26.2 miles. However, Conquer the Wall is a marathon in Beijing's Great Wall that isn't really a marathon. It's more about survival. We are here with Tammi and Cal, who just finished Conquer the Wall, to explain to you why that is like no other race on Earth. Hey guys.
Hey.
Hi.
Tammi, you want to chime in on that?
I was waiting for his response. Hey, diddly ho.
Hey.
So we got Cal,
Play it cool, Cal.
we got Tammi, and they're totally chill, and this is how they are in natural repose. First questions first, real easy. How are we doing today? Cal, you want to start?
I'm good. I'm in a great place at the moment.
Nice.
Headspace.
Okay.
Yeah, life's good. Life's swell.
Nice. I can see it in your eyes as well, that like you're reflecting on it and things in life are good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, things are good.
Awesome.
Tammi, yourself?
Things are good too. I am physically quite tired because since we finished the event that we're going to speak about,
The event.
I haven't really held back on my adventure kind of kindred spirit moments this week. Might have overdone it a little bit, but
Okay.
cup is full.
Nice.
Battery is empty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit on that same page with you as
Yeah?
well. Yeah, a little bit. Like I'm a little asleep right now, but I am all for this conversation. We're going to talk about something very special that happened in your guys' life, and you guys took on this challenge together. It was I don't know if this is the actual name for it, the Beijing Marathon.
Love it. Not the name at all. You did not nail that, but I love it.
All right, so let's backtrack a little bit. What was the
Sure.
name of this race?
Cal, do you want to tell us?
That's really made me laugh.
The
It was
Beijing
called,
Marathon?
It was called
Give me a break. It was a marathon in Beijing.
Sure.
On the Great Wall. The Beijing Great Wall
It
Marathon.
was the Conquer the Wall Marathon.
Mm.
Like,
Okay, that
come on, you didn't do it justice.
they
Conquer
need to work
Wall
the marketing
Marathon.
there. I don't know where this is.
Yep.
I don't know what's the conquering part. I guess we'll get into the feeling of conquering this
Yeah.
this race. And you guys both took it on together. But the interesting thing is about, the relationship that you guys have. So I wanted to make this a fun start, funner than it already has been. Tammi,
Yes.
could you please introduce Cal?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you will reciprocate. So just know that, Cal, you are going to introduce Tammi as well.
Okay.
But
Mm.
the goal here is try to introduce this person in as complete a picture as is necessary for the people at home to like,
Right.
really root for this person
Oh, got you. In terms of the race, or just as a human?
as a human.
As a human. Oh my gosh. I can
No
say so many
pressure.
things.
You're going first.
All right. Meet Cal.
Okay.
Cal seems as though he would never have left the bubble of England, and yet he finds himself in Hong Kong. To my disbelief, he tried to mingle through common interests of sports, which is how he stumbled into the doors of Coastal. Hyrox was actually the first thing that caught his eye in
Okay.
an event that he wanted to partake in, and he had seen, I think you had seen me doing Hyrox, or you were at the same Hyrox competition. You were like, I want to go and train at their gym.
For sure.
Yeah. So Cal slowly started integrating himself into the Coastal family through our Hyrox classes. This is just the weekend classes because
Got
he
it.
lives a little while away. And over time, as our community does, we chewed away at him. And now he's stuck like glue. As a person, incredibly socially awkward, such as me, but incredible. Such a thoughtful, caring, lovely person who has the best heart. I really mean that. Super genuine, says it as it is, which is what I like. It's very black and white with him. And yeah, just an amazing person to get to spend time with and get to know over the last few years. So Cal is an amazing person, and he sits with us here.
Oh, that's very nice. Now, Cal, unfortunately, you cannot, rebut any of that of your own story. Well, there's one thing that I think you left out that's really important.
Oh my gosh,
What
what?
is your specific relationship to Cal?
Oh, well, Cal, now friend, started off as a client. He had originally come to the classes, and after our journey in the classes had contacted me about working together individually. Initially with what was meant to be for Hyrox and was for Hyrox, but I think that as our relationship grew and he understood kind of like the work that we can do beyond, I guess, the gym, I don't know, we just got more invested in our client coach relationship, and we've tackled a few other things and been able to address other areas of life as well, which has been really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a really well put together. Considering you were on the spot,
Thank you.
that's impressive.
Thank you.
You know what's so cool about that is now you're going to be on the spot. So
The best bit.
after Tammi just sung all those praises
Mm.
and not a single word of negative or, dude needs to work on this. It was all positive. You can say whatever you want. So please, for those that have not met yet, Tamarin Robinson, introduce, please.
Okay. So, but I feel like a lot of people watching will already know you pretty well, right? So, this is a Cal take on that question. So first met Tam at the first ever Hong Kong High Rocks, and I think I'd seen her warming up, and she was doing mixed doubles. Correct? Mixed doubles? No, you were doing singles.
I was doing singles, yeah.
Right, so I'd seen her warming up, and I was like, wow, who is that? Like, mad impressive, right? And you must get that a lot. Like, people must sort of see you from afar, and I know you're very modest, but they'd be like, wow, that person is very fit. So I'd raced, I think Tam had raced. I was not surprised that she'd won the event. And then I'd seen her after the event, and I'd said, oh, like, hey, introduced, said hello, really, really friendly. And I know it doesn't sound terrible, but I wasn't expecting you to be as friendly. It was like you already knew me. You were so welcoming. And then it was from then I was like, yeah, that's a cool person. Like, where are they from? And then obviously found out Coastal. And then, yeah, the more I've got to know Tam, how can I describe her? Super friendly, kind, thoughtful. I know you've probably used thoughtful for me. I personally think, unless you know Tam, I think you're misunderstood.
You know what way?
I think people look at Tam and see this tattooed, fit woman with dreads and think, oh, my life, I can't speak to her. She's like this, like,
Unapproachable.
yeah, unapproachable.
Like
And
don't
she's
never
polar
be your
opposite.
heroes.
She's literally polar opposite. And like, even though I'd say our relationship was like client and trainer, it never felt like that. It has never once felt like that. And that's purely down to the way that she speaks to, I guess, your clients or just general people. Like, you're not a client, you're like more than that. And this whole journey we've been on over the past couple of years has been amazing because I genuinely know Tam is a friend, like obviously she's been a coach to me, but a friend. Someone I can speak to about. In fact, I will say this now on the pod. I told no one.
Yeah.
I told no one in my entire life that I was going to propose to my girlfriend. And I don't know what it was, but I told Tam, and it was like, I felt like I had to tell someone, and that was the person that I told because I felt so comfortable within our discussions.
Yeah.
Because we have so many conversations where we'll talk about loads of things. I'd say Tam is someone who makes you feel valued. That is what I'd say is I've gone around the houses before I've got to the actual answer. I'd say for me, that's her core value. She makes people feel valued by the way in which she engages with them. And can't rate her highly enough as a human.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was an excellent start. We can just end right there.
The end. And that's Cal and Tam.
I'm someone who doesn't answer questions like with one answer. I give you a myriad of things.
You've got two short story long kind of people.
I mean, that's kind of the beauty of podcast is this isn't going to be a 3-hour, Joe Rogan experience, but you can just share, the story, and that's going to be what we're talking about today. And now, like, this is the cool thing about this episode is I usually prepare for these interviews with questions and like doing homework and research. This one, I just had a feeling just to not do it and just to kind of go by feel here. So already it's paying off. So what we're talking about, fucking hell, I already forgot the name of the race.
Conquer the
Conquer the
wall.
Great.
Conquer the
Conquer the
wall.
Conquer the
wall.
wall.
Okay, for those of us, and one of the reasons why we also want to talk about this is marathon running is, I don't know if it's just social media or if it's just everyone's friend is starting to participate in halves and fulls and ultras and whatevers, and getting the sexiest running shoes with the biggest toe spring and this, that, and the other. But everyone is on a running high, not runner's high that you physically feel, but a running high where like it's a social thing. Everyone's in a run club, everyone's running. And I just want to dissect it as best as possible because for whatever reason, I want to run a marathon now. I don't know if I still actually want to run a marathon, but I have a goal in mind to do it.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, you told me before the episode that that Conquer the Wall as a marathon, it's unlike others, right? So for those who are unaware, could you best describe what is Conquer the Wall?
Absolutely. I can jump in. So, unknowingly, we signed up to one of the world's hardest marathons. We didn't know that before we signed up. It was literally based on dates that Cal was available because I think we had initially said, hey, you have this Hyrox race. We were going to do doubles in Bangkok. And then that kind of fell through. And I was like, hey, I was wanting to do a marathon. This is the one that I'm looking at. And he was like, sign me up. That's cool. So then there are a couple, which is why we were laughing about the name, because there is the Great Wall Marathon. There is probably a Beijing Marathon.
There's 3.
There's Conquer the Wall Marathon. There's this other one as well. And they all actually have very different experiences. So the one we happened to sign up for, like I said, was one of the hardest. So when I'm saying the hardest, it had the most amount of elevation. It had the most amount of steps. And had the longest duration in which it takes people to complete. So rather than a regular road marathon taking someone between 3 to 5 hours, let's just say, it's now pushing closer towards the cutoff time being 10 to 12 hours.
And we're still talking about 26.2 miles or 42 kilometers.
Exactly the same distance. However, it is just the savage incline and decline that you go through, all of which, or most of which, is on the wall. The Great Wall of China, that is. Yeah.
So, I mean, upon sign up, you guys didn't know that this was the variant that you were going to get, where it was less running, more like incline survival.
Yeah.
At what point did you realize what you signed up for, and how did that change the conversation of what you were going to do here?
So we were at the start line.
Shut up.
Okay.
No, I knew it was one of the hard ones.
Well, no, we knew it was one of the hardest.
Okay.
I knew there were 3 variations of the marathon.
Yeah.
I didn't know that Conquer the Wall was the hardest.
Got it.
I just knew that people had labeled any marathon on the Great Wall as one of the hardest marathons you can do in the world. Now, there was one the weekend prior to us racing.
There was.
And we couldn't do that one based on I was in work. So then the second available date was to Conquer the Wall. So we were like, let's go, let's do it. Now, when we got to the start line, there were numerous people like, oh, hey, is this your first marathon? Tam was like, yeah, it's my first marathon. She's also really excited. And everyone's like looking at us like we're...
Like literally crazy.
Yeah, or stupid. They're like
in over your head.
Yeah, almost like dismissing. It's like, haha, you guys have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, you'll be lucky if you finish this.
As in, these people have done this race before.
Not the specific race. So all of them seem to have been either like they do quite a lot of marathons in general, or they do quite a lot of trail running. So they were actually just like, oh, do you do trail running quite a lot? Like, how many races have you done?
Yeah.
And we were like, oh no, this is like our first ever trail race, and it's also our first ever marathon. They were like, so wait, are you doing the full or the half? And we're like, no, the full. And they were like, you realize it's one of the world's hardest? And we're like,
okay, so you've already mentioned this, so
yeah.
I mean, and I guess I have a misunderstanding. For both of you, this was your first ever dedicated marathon?
For me, yes.
For Tam, yeah. For me, I had done, so I'm classing it as, because, well, no, I can't. So in the UK, I did a charity event where we ran a Tough Mudder on one Saturday, and then we ran a marathon on the Sunday.
Okay.
And it was to raise money for charity. So yes, technically I have run a marathon, not competitively. It was more like let's just see if we can finish this after
Yeah.
doing Tough Mudder yesterday.
But this is your first time, like,
But
you ran a marathon where you trained for it.
Yeah, but I would say running's my thing. Like, if someone was to say to me, "What's your best attribute as a physical person?" I'd say I'm good at running.
He's very good at running.
Even that being said, this was a hell of a challenge for you.
So upon moving to Hong Kong and upon meeting Tam, I didn't realize how different trail running was. And it wasn't until we started, because we did like an 18-week training block for this.
Yeah, we did quite a long training block.
18 weeks.
Yeah, so it wasn't until like week 2 of that training block that I was like, oh, this is hard. This is not running. It's a different beast. Like, and obviously Hong Kong's amazing for trail running, right? But I hadn't touched trails. Like, I'd done a few hikes, but it wasn't until we really started to get into our trail running that I was like, this is going to be a whole different piece of cake.
So I have
Team, I want to quickly interrupt this episode to give a little shout out to our sponsors, Today Well Spent. This little journal has made such a massive, profound impact on my life since I started using it. When I started using it, I actually didn't know that it was backed by neuroscience, but now it totally makes sense. This has brought a ton of gratitude to my life. It keeps me on track and focused on the things I need to do day to day, and brings a lot of context as to how each day fits within the greater week and the greater month. So if you, like me, really care about trying to be a high performer and want to do everything you can to make that happen, I cannot recommend this journal enough. Use our discount code, THEPROCESS, to grab yours today.
I have 2 questions here. Is number 1, with Conquer the Wall, is it classified as a trail marathon? Like, what about it makes it more of a trail? Is it, in my head,
Yeah.
it's the whole run is on the wall, but that's probably not true.
Well, okay, you actually run through. So, okay, the wall is the wall, and then beside it is also like rough terrain and trail, and then nature around it as well. So there
You're
are
on and
segments you run down and then up
Okay.
because some of the wall is not refurbished.
Okay.
So that like you literally just can't even go on it.
Yeah.
Right. So a majority of the race is on the wall, but the trail aspect of it is the terrain of the wall as well as like it's not put together. It's not
Okay.
like you're running on a path or a road. It's
see.
not like that at all. Undulating terrain the whole time, watching your feet. The wall's on an angle. The steps are like 24 to 30 inch box jump height for some of it, then really little for some of it, then some really steep hill bits for some of it.
Wait, so there
And
are
it's
some
all
steps
gravel.
that are between 20 and 24 inches
Yeah.
tall?
We were like climbing up them. Do you know when I went down the deep gullies and up those things? I was literally on my hands and my feet climbing. I remember grabbing a tourist's foot at one stage, being like, "Sorry," and they kept going up it.
That was an
Yeah,
accident.
there are just lots of chunks of different things, like parts where they've obviously for the race, or even I guess it's random tourists that because when you divot off the wall and come around and walk around the tower that's closed or whatever, you're like climbing up little rocks that they've placed to get high enough to get back onto the wall again. Like it's not really just a run.
Yeah.
That's
It was
probably
so,
the trip.
listening to you speak about it, it was so cool. Like, I don't know, like I've reflected on it, but just hearing you talk about it, I'm like, it was so cool.
In the moment, it sucked, but looking back, it was great. Or even in the moment when it sucked, it was
I
great.
had moments where it really sucked, particularly
Like paint a picture of how difficult this race is
Okay.
with this moment.
So I had been on a few trail runs with Tam, so I had a fair idea of where I was at and where she was at, and I knew on most of the trail runs that we'd done together, Tam led and I followed, and I knew that that was going to be a similar situation. So we had done. What had we done? We'd done one on what trail did we do on Hong Kong Island where we?
Oh, we went up from here over the back. Is that the one that you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one where
It's multiple trails linked together.
Cool.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like by the end of that, we did a half marathon, and I was like, "Ooh, one, my trail shoes don't fit me. My toes are screwed. My toes are
Like
still
too tight?
They were too small.
My toenail, like I've got like 4 toenails that are about to fall off. They still haven't recovered. But I used that as like, oh yeah, I couldn't keep up with Tam, but my shoes weren't fitting me properly.
If it weren't for these damn
Yeah,
shoes,
that was my thing.
would've
So
blasted her.
I was like, hey, I'll be fine when we do the Conquer the Wall. I'll be able to keep up with you
Yeah.
easy. And then it got to kilometer 5 of the race.
Kilometer 5 out of 42 kilometers.
Out of the
Yeah.
42.
Yeah, kilometers 5.
Out of the 42.
And I very quickly was like, this is hard. This is a lot harder than I thought it'd be after 5K.
Yeah.
And I looked at Tam and I was like, are you feeling this or is it just me? And she was like, no, I'm also feeling it. It was like a real steady.
It was just the steadiest incline
real
for
naughty,
5K.
yeah, this incline, and you're not on the wall at this point. You're off the wall. And anyway, you're going through real trail,
Yeah.
jungle, and we got onto the wall, and I was like, I need to just stop for a second.
And you did.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
need to
we
stop for a
stopped. We
second.
took it because we had because it was quite cold in the
Yeah.
morning. It was like 6 degrees,
Mm.
and the projected heat in the afternoon was like 20 something.
Oh,
Yeah.
So like we had to prepare for everything.
Yeah.
So we had a little like thin running sleeve on, and
Mhm.
we were like, how about we just stop, take it off, have a moment, and then go.
Yeah. So I took that layer off, and then Tam was like, right, let's go. I was like, yeah, cool. And I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't like bouncing ready to go, and I
Yeah.
could see Tam was. So I was like, I'll be good. So we kept running. We were at a good pace. And we're obviously, you have a 5K, you have a 10K, a half marathon, and a full. So you've got 4 groups of people running different races all at the same time.
I see.
So I know based on the color of people's bibs and stickers what they're running.
Okay.
So we had an orangey red,
Yeah.
and the half was a blue. So whenever I saw a blue, I was like, like we're keeping pace with the halfers who are going to be going quick. And then I cannot remember what kilometer it was at, but at what essentially I knew that there were no females ahead of us
Mhm.
other than Tam. So I knew that she was at the head of the pack
Yeah.
for the female race. So that was in my head. And then I can't remember at what point it was, but Tam essentially sort of looked at me and was like, how are you feeling? I was like, yeah, I'm okay. You just keep running, and if I'm not behind you, I'm not behind you.
Oh, okay.
Like you just go and don't look behind and not see me and stop. You just
Okay.
keep going.
Because the original game plan was to start.
Well, we
and
were
finish
going to
this
do it together, yeah.
Yeah,
So we had only gotten to like the halfway mark of the half marathon.
Yeah.
There was a checkpoint, and I was waiting because it was like down some
I
stairs.
see.
And I was waiting for him there, and he got there, and we like had a drink, and then we started running / fast walking back up the stairs.
Totally.
And
fair.
and I was like, Cal, I think I'm in the lead. I haven't seen any girls go past us.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, you should go. And I was like, my integrity, like I can't leave. And he was like, if I was you, I would go. Don't look back. That's literally his words.
Yeah,
and I was like,
I couldn't word it any other way. I was like, Tam, I won't lie to you. If it was me in your position, like I wouldn't even be asking you permission. I'd just be going.
Yeah.
Like I'd just be if I knew that I was in that position, I'd be going.
Yeah.
So we carried on, and it wasn't like I was like, yeah, go, and then Tam sprint off. Kind of happened.
there was 2 steps and then I did.
Yeah, so I was following for a very brief period, and then she'd gone, like she'd fully gone, and it took me. I was still holding pace with some of the leading half marathoners, but then obviously you get halfway and they've finished their race.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh wow, I have to do this all over again, and I'm not feeling great. And then I had this real mental battle with myself because I was like, I'm not holding the pace that I was holding when I was with Tam. I'm not on for the time that I wanted to get. And I essentially got in my own head and had a real tough 5K. And bear in mind, 1K on that wall feels like 10K. Like it's not a kilometer.
It's a grind.
Oh, it's so hard. So for about 5K, I was going slow. I think I was clocking on average. I think it was like a 20-minute K. It was something slow.
Which sounds like you're not running at all, but
Yeah.
like the incline was savage. The point at which he's talking about as well, like the first 21 was actually the easiest. It was the last segment where they got together. So the 10K loop,
Yeah.
we had to do the 10K loop twice. It was the slowest portion of the entire race. It was just constant uphill, then downhill, constant uphill,
aggressive
so
downhill.
aggressive. Yeah. So I see him and we made a safe word before we started.
Yeah.
And I was like, Cal, we need a word. We need a word for if you're really struggling. And that was obviously meant to be when we were together,
Yeah.
but we were no longer together. So I've done my first loop and I'm coming back down to head back to the checkpoint to do the second loop. And me and Cal meet in the tower and I was like, Cal! wow. And I was like, he was hardly making sense. He was like,
it was at that point I
it was
knew how
like
far
a
ahead you
stare
were.
through the distance and this little like fist bump. And then his mouth looked real dry.
Oh,
And he
no.
was like, Tam. And I was like, oh, I'm in a bad place. I was like, do you mean pickle? Because that was the word.
Pickle
I was
is
like,
a safe word.
Yeah.
I was gonna
like,
wonder,
are you in
yeah.
a pickle? And he was like, yeah. I was like, are you like actually okay? And he was like, yeah. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. I'm so sorry.
And I didn't say anything nice to Tam. There was no like, hey, you're doing really well.
Yeah.
Go smash it. I
His
just
world
like,
was caving in.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
could see it.
I thought I was gonna cry. Like I actually thought I was gonna cry.
This is so hard.
Like I generally was like, you want to cry? Like to myself, I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then
Meanwhile, Tammy's like, we'll unpack that in our
yeah, and then
client coach
Not now,
conversation
not now.
afterwards. Yeah.
and this is when it's got wild. So after that happened,
Oh, this is so cool. I
Yeah,
love
so
this.
after that happened, I ran. So seeing Tam gave me a bit of a, oh Jesus, I knew how far ahead she was of me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, God, I can't like continue at this pace. She's gonna finish like crazy time.
Because
ahead
did
of
she
me.
essentially lap you on that second 10 kilometers?
So
or?
she hadn't lapped me, but she was like I think she was about 2 hours ahead of me at that point.
Oh, wow, okay.
Maybe more. Anyway, so I knew that, and I was like, I cannot, like, come on, get yourself together.
Mhm.
So I started to up my pace a little bit. Let's say I went to like, I don't know, an 18-minute K,
Mhm.
because I was doing a lot more running. And then I can't remember what tower it was. I got to one of the towers, and like this harsh incline, then these harsh steps that are huge, and I'm having like a real sort of breather at the top, having a word with myself.
Mhm.
And I won't lie, it was at that point that I was like, I've just given everything I've got to that last K, and I don't think I can go any further. Like, I'm gonna see if I can get put down into the half. Well, whether they'd be willing to do that for me or not, I'm not sure, because I've entered the full race. And then I get it's like I got like a tap. It wasn't like a real firm hand. It was just like a tap. Like
Mhm.
someone had literally just was careful. And I looked up, and it was a guy, and I didn't really take anything at the time. He just said, "Show courage." That's all he said. And this guy was dressed in like a traditional like monk robe. And I didn't take any of this in until I've thought about it later on in the race. And I've got courage tattooed on me. It's like one of my like things.
Shut up.
It's like
my
his
wrist,
values
right?
on his arm. He has
So-
these lists of words,
I've
and
got-
courage is right there.
I've got a list of words on both arms, like going around my wrist, and that's one of the main ones I've got. And it wasn't until about 30 seconds after he'd said it that I was like, did that guy just say show courage? I think he's like, I thought I was going crazy. Like,
Yeah, was that a
crazy.
real person?
Yeah.
Did I see some man?
Literally, was that a real person? So I then, after about 30 seconds, was like, right, this is it. Like, that's your sign from something somewhere that you've got it in you.
Yeah.
Start running. Like, and let's finish this. Let's have a real good end, like good second or whatever it be, last third of the race.
Yeah.
And I'd say I was about 27k in at that point. And then from 27k, I was just like, that was it.
It was the best
So
part of your race.
my 27k up to the end of the marathon, I think was my fastest period of the race.
Yeah.
And I'm not even joking when I say it was purely down to one guy. I think he was a monk.
I wasn't there. I don't know.
Maybe I was maybe I'm hallucinating, right?
Yeah.
It could have just been a random tourist, but I'm pretty certain it was a monk. He
It
had
wa-
the full
okay, it was a monk
red robe.
who was talking to you in perfect English.
Yes. Well, he said show courage.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
But still.
So, yeah, it was just crazy. And I just had that in me the whole rest of the race. The whole time.
That was
So
like your
cool.
mantra.
It was just, I was like, for like 5k after that, I was like, did that really happen? And then I was like, that happened.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, the rest of the race, I just had an unbelievable time, like taking everything in. I got my legs back. I was able to run. And then, yeah, I was just, my kilometers were getting quicker. So it was just all in my head. Let's be fair, my legs had gone at one point. My legs had
It
fully
was all
gone.
in your legs too.
Yeah, but like, it just goes to show even when you think you've exerted everything you have, you
Mm.
haven't. Because I genuinely felt like I wasn't going to run any further.
Yeah.
That was me done. And then one guy says, show courage. And I then run faster than I had for the previous. Mind blowing.
What? I mean,
It's
you
pretty
can't-
cool.
you
When
can't
he
make
told
that
me, I
up.
had like goosebumps.
Yeah. I mean, you having finished, you did finish first for the women's group.
Yes, sir.
Did you have, what was your difficult moment? Like, what was your like, oh man, what am I doing here? Is this gonna like,
Yeah.
am I gonna survive this? Like,
Yeah.
from what I understand in marathons,
Mhm.
and you know, Cal, you experienced it yourself for many a kilometer, but
Really early on,
right,
since the
like,
5K mark.
where the whole idea of hitting the wall.
Yeah.
And for you guys, the whole wall is a race.
The
you
wall
know?
hit us. That is
Exactly.
what it felt
and,
like.
And like famous races have their own wall moments. For
Yeah.
example, in the Boston Marathon, I think it's Heartbreak Hill, something like that.
Because it's toward the back end, right?
Something where there's like a huge incline
Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah.
You know, this being your first, I guess, dedicated marathon.
Yeah.
Did you have that moment of real difficulty as well?
Understood. To be honest, I had a pretty positive mindset for a lot of it. I would agree with Callan saying like that first 5K like really took me aback. I was in that moment, I was like, I actually don't know if I can do this. Like
Yeah.
I am struggling way more than I thought I would at this point.
Yeah.
But there was nothing like astronomically hard about it. It was just the sneakiest little caught me off guard.
Huh.
But to be honest, no, like I was in a very good headspace for a lot of it. And a lot of it was me just talking to myself about doing hard things and how good this is for you to do hard things and to commit to it and to remember every time I've committed to something and done it and accomplished it, that feeling at the end, how proud I would be, the story I'd be able to tell for myself, you know, like to share that moment with someone else, to see all the other runners there, to, know that all the, volunteers were there out for their entire day to help support us through it. Like there was so many good things going through my mind. And I guess, this whole year for me has been proving, I haven't really spoken about it, I guess, to anyone, maybe you a little bit, but like this whole year, I started the year by doing things that are hard. So like I did the Maclehose Trail as an example as my New Year's. I'm going to take a backpack. I'm going to go and camp for 3 days and hike across the whole 100 kilometers of Hong Kong. Like that is what I want to do, because if I start the year this way, I prove to myself that I'm capable of doing hard things. When things get hard, I'm going to be able to put my foot down. And that led me to success for this event, because when things did feel difficult, it wasn't a case of I can't do this. It's you can, you will. Other people have. You totally got this. So there wasn't really a wall. I would say the wall potentially I faced was just like my joints were sore and it was convincing myself that it wasn't an injury because I was like, it's in both sides. It's just achy because you've been jumping down huge steps. You're carrying a lot of water and a lot of food on you right now. So you're even heavier than normal. Your inflammation's really high because it's really hot right now. So a biggest part of the battle is just convincing yourself you're fine. And once you can do that, and once you can unlock that part of your brain to be like, everything you're experiencing right now is super temporary.
Yeah.
Like as soon as you're done, maybe there's going to be a few days of recovery after.
Yeah.
Like you're going to be okay. If it's stupid and it's an injury, you should stop. But it never got to that point, which is why I didn't.
When I hear you say that, for you, it sounds very easy to be able to. I know that's what I guess that's my question is like at the moment hearing it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Callie feels the same way when Tammy says about this positive stuff and being able to talk to yourself in that way. Like for you, it seems so natural. But I would guess there was a lot of work to get you to this point.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like truth stacking, right? Like I have proven to myself time and time again in work, in training, in other things, in other areas of life, like I can put my foot down and I can grind and grunt through things that are really fucking hard and make it out the other end. So why is this any different? Just because my brain's telling me it's harder than anything I've ever done before.
Yeah.
So what? This will now be the next pillar of that was the hardest thing. What's next? And I think it's not that it's necessarily easy. I think I just recognize the things sooner. Like my brain switches into, oh, you're about to be negative or you're trying to make excuses for why you should slow down or why you should stop. But you don't need to do that. Like you're going to be disappointed if you do that.
Yeah.
You'll feel more empowered and encouraged if you were to continue. So that's kind of my headspace.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in terms of, stacking those undeniable truths, right? Now I'm going back to you, Cal, and it's like there were, I don't know how many times on your hand you can count the moments you wanted to quit this race.
Just for 8 hours.
it was just one long moment. But now, coming out the end of it and you finished it, right? You did show courage. This is the part of the stack that you're creating of those undeniable truths. So are you taking away from this anything bigger in your future goals? Are you there yet? Or are you still kind of reflecting on this?
No, I'm definitely there yet. Sorry, I'm definitely there yet.
I'm there yet.
I'm there
Are
yet.
you there yet?
I am there yet.
I'm trying to unpack that.
Do you know what? Prior to, this goes back a little bit, prior to working with Tam, I was someone who, in my professional career, in my fitness journey, whatever, I wanted to win. I had to be the best. Everything I did. And unfortunately for me, I learned the hard way that that's not the way things work. And this was the perfect example of how far I've come on my journey with that, because I had done next to no trail running before, yet I did originally go into this with a mindset of, yeah, I'll do well at this.
I really had to tame his expectations.
I'm gonna be really good at this. I can run.
Was it like a blind confidence, or
I think it is borderline arrogance. I think I'm not necessarily saying arrogance is a bad thing all the time, because it can get confused for confidence, but I do think it was just general arrogance. And
I would disagree slightly with that. I'm going to intervene here. I wouldn't say it's entirely arrogance. I think that, like Cal mentioned, his background, you are a phenomenal runner. Like, if I was to put you on a road, there was no way I could ever keep up with you. Stick me on a trail. Maybe I got a little bit more hope because I'm a little mountain goat that loves spending time out there.
Is that why you encourage him to do a trail run with you?
Just let me humble you. Let me humble you. No, so I think that, like, I could understand why you would think that and why you would go into it thinking that. Is just like, you are a phenomenal runner, but this is just a whole new beast.
Yeah.
So it was.
I think that's the key thing for me. And it's not just to be fair, in the marathon, it's been in other areas of my life as well, particularly with professionally. Like, I've even moving to Hong Kong, like, I'm meeting people who are like, they're on a level that a lot of people are even better than me. They know more than me. I need to be more of a listener than someone who thinks they know everything all the time.
Yeah.
Even if you think you know something, you need to listen to the other people, because you're going to grow, right?
Mhm.
So this whole experience, the whole marathon, showed me that. And I think going into it, I had a time in my head still. I was still that person who was like, I'm going to finish it in X time. And I just realized in each kilometer, I definitely between 22K and 27 or 28K was going to quit. I got through those rough kilometers, and it was in those rough kilometers that I realized, like, no, like, you need, like, your outlook has changed. You are not that person who thinks they will win everything. You need to look at things differently and understand that you're actually part of, or you're on a journey where you're exploring why you're still growing, you're still improving, but you need to stop comparing yourself to, I don't know, elite runners or people who are very good at what they do, because you're on a different journey. And I think we've had the same conversation with me about social media. Like, I don't go on, I'm off social media totally. I don't use it. I've not been on it for like 2 or 3 years, because I could not use it to positively impact my life, my day to day. It was nothing but negative for me.
Yeah.
So I think humbling experiences like this, where you battle and you grit through, just help you grow so much as an individual. And it's definitely what this did to me. And it wasn't until I'd say the final 5K where I just started to feel this elation. Like, I was smiling. Like, I was, like Tam says, my joints and everything that were killing. But I just had this feeling that I can't, if you could bottle it and sell it, like, it would be, you'd be
Priceless, right?
Yeah, it was just this amazing feeling. And in the pictures that we've been sent through, the professional photographer photos, the final 5K, there's pictures of me and it looks like I'm just starting. Like,
Nice.
I don't know what happened to me, but I was just like in this moment where I had such gratitude, such appreciation. I didn't give I couldn't give a crap where I finished, what time I'd got. I was just enjoying being in the moment, being a part of it. And I think that's my biggest takeaway
Mhm.
from
I love
this.
that.
Yeah. And, you know, if we're going to go on the path of like the bigger picture of
Yeah.
marathon running, you know,
Yeah.
they do say, forgive me for saying this, but life is a marathon, not a sprint.
It's true.
Right. And like,
Absolutely. It's about pacing yourself.
and I've only done half a marathon, and that was, sometimes I tell myself that is totally enough and I cannot do anymore. You know, when you do competitions and stuff, whether it's a high rocks race, like a high rocks race can be anywhere from an hour and a half or something like that.
Yeah.
When you commit to a marathon, even a fast one is going to be 3 to 4 hours. This one was somewhere on upwards of between 6 and 8 hours for you guys.
Oh, I was 9.5.
So like we're talking about,
Let's just get that out there.
all right, an elite 9.5. I get it.
9.5. We can edit it out. We can edit that.
But
9.5 hours
that's
of non-stop running.
that's what I'm saying is like, that's 9.5 hours for you to just see what you could do or
Yeah.
not do, and
Yeah.
you know, push things, kind of like fall on your face, grin and bear it, like make peace with whatever's out there, to make this happen. Like, is there something particularly special or different about running a marathon versus other challenges that where marathons give this and others don't?
Marathons in general, just running in general.
I would not have taken what I took from that if I just ran a marathon.
Yeah, different.
Totally
different.
Totally different.
So
I
like,
guess it falls in the range of almost feeling like an ultra by the time you've done.
Okay.
Because of the time duration. If
Right.
you think about that, if you're thinking 9.5 hours,
Yeah.
that's almost 3 times the amount of time.
well, I mean,
that you were
this is
speaking
the
about.
part where like I just don't understand it because I've never done it myself.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, the longest thing I've ever done is sit in a plane for 16 hours. And I thought that was, there was a lot of,
so good.
there were a lot of good movies, you know?
I watched 5 films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I saw boobies and there was like a 5-year-old next to me and I didn't give a shit. I'm proud
Nice,
of myself.
Chris.
We can edit that too. But like, what about a marathon
Yeah.
is I don't know, like what is
Yeah.
the allure there? What is the special challenge? What about it makes it such for you,
For me.
like this different level of
Yeah.
achievement?
Well, you were speaking of a normal marathon. I'm going
Yeah.
to speak in terms of what we did.
Yeah.
For me, the elated feeling that Cal was speaking about is what I have every time I hit the trails in Hong Kong. Like, I am a nature junkie. Like, if you could inject me with nature moments in life and give me nature porn all day, like,
Mainline it.
I will take it.
Yeah.
And the coolest thing for me is that, number one, running, I can get into my flow state. I love spending time in my head. I think
get-go.
some people do not. People run with music, people run with podcasts. I'm in my thoughts. Like, I just dig it. So first thing, it's a moment to be completely present. It forces you to be really present when you're on trails, because when you're running on a road, you can look anywhere. You can be distracted. You can look around. You can't do that when you're on a trail.
Yeah.
You have to watch where your feet are, because as soon as you don't, and this happened many a time during the race because I wanted to cheer the other competitors on. So I would look up and be like, good job. And I'm like, oh shit, like tripping over. I was like, good job. I got to focus on me right now,
Yeah.
you know? So it really just brings full presence to the moment. And I think that was the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Like, for me, it was just, I was so in awe of nature and its amazingness around me when I could take a moment to look at it. I was so in awe of the wall and how long it was, and knowing that it's over like 36,000 kilometers long,
see.
and we're just doing like 42K of it. I also, it was just so many moments to be grateful for. And I think, like, what was your question? Because I really have
Can we also just take
diverged.
a minute? Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tam has just explained that, so she was leading the race, right?
Yeah.
She's leading the women's race.
Yeah.
Her first ever marathon. She's leading the Conquer the
Yeah.
Wall marathon, just to put that into context. And she's cheering people on.
Yeah.
How often do you witness someone running and leading a marathon where they're like, well done, you go, you keep going. Like, they're not worrying about anyone else other than themselves and winning.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I mean about when I was talking and introducing Tam. That's the type of person she is. That's the perfect way to describe you.
Wow, thank you. It was okay. I don't even know what your question was anymore.
I think maybe the real question that I was trying to bottle
Yes.
into a story, but doesn't need to be,
'Kay.
is why would people do a marathon? Like, if you were going to convince someone to do it, and they're not like, I'm never going to run and you should run. No, you should do a marathon. But like,
Yeah.
if someone's like considering doing it, but doesn't feel capable of doing it,
Yeah.
or doesn't feel like it's just something that, that speaks to them, what would make them know that's something they should consider? Because it sounds like a lot of hard shit.
Yeah. Think about every experience you've ever had in life. Whenever there is the hardest moments of your life, the best part of it
Mm.
is on the other side.
Mm.
And that's what it feels like to accomplish something like that.
Mm.
Even more on top of that, if you share that moment with someone else,
Mm.
it was such a beautiful moment to be able to share. Even though we didn't necessarily run it at the same time and finish at the same time, like I was way more anxious and way more proud of Cal doing what he was doing and just waiting for him at the finish line than I was like, sure, like I did the race, whatever.
Yeah.
But this was about him and celebrating him when he finished as well.
That was really nice.
I think the community,
Mhm.
again, I can't speak of a normal marathon because I've never done one. So I think it would be entirely different because people are much more aware of their paces because people know exactly what they can hit.
Yeah.
This is not the context of what we had.
Yeah.
It was like the most awesome supportive community, honestly, from the volunteers to all the people that were there in the morning. Everyone was so friendly. No hidden agendas of trying to beat anyone or do anything or be malicious. It was just genuinely lovely people to be around who now, like, we've got some friends from that. And those are people now that I could be like, hey, do you want to go and
some
hit the
real cool
trails?
people,
Like,
right?
Nice,
yeah,
man.
and go and do some fun things. So I think, you know, everyone will have different things in life that they want to achieve. And do I think everyone needs to do a marathon? No.
Okay.
But if you are someone like me who loves adventure, you love exploring what your body's capable of, and you like proving yourself wrong, because to be honest, if you had asked me 3, 5, 7 years ago, I used to struggle running like 2, 3K. Like there was no chance I would have ever thought that I would have done a marathon. And I would have told you I would never have done one.
Yeah.
And now that I have, I am so much more proud because it's way better in life when you choose to do things that are really hard for you, because it's way more rewarding when you're able to do that, when you've proven to yourself that you can take that on.
Okay.
So that for me would be why. But obviously, like, consider your health, your joints, all the things. If your body's not made for it, you can choose a different sport. But choose to do hard things is my message.
Okay. Whatever that hard thing is,
Yes.
lean into it.
Yes.
What would be your pitch?
Definitely do. Can we swear on this?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Do hard shit.
Do hard shit. Yeah.
And I have that written. I have that written on my pinboard. Do hard shit. Now, that for me, that Conquer the Wall was not a marathon. Like, if you're wanting to do a marathon, don't do that.
If you want to set a record for a marathon,
not really
that's
a
not the
marathon.
one.
If you want to go and try and run a fast marathon, go and do like, if you're someone who's like really wants conscious of their time, go and do like a Berlin, right?
Yeah.
Like a flat.
Flat surface.
Whereas that for me was, it's a challenge. It's genuinely a challenge. Like, have you got the mental toughness? Is your body equipped to finish that race?
Yeah.
Because that was the challenge. And now that when I was in it, there were parts of it obviously that I hated.
Yeah.
But they were the best parts because it builds you as a person. And like, I genuinely am not lying when I say I was going to quit. Like, I was gonna have Calbone DNF next to my name, and that was running through my mind. I was like, is that what I really want? Do I really want to have a DNF next to my name? No. But equally, I'm now going incredibly slow, and they're the moments that build you. Like, that genuinely will live with me forever.
Yeah.
Those 5K where I was in the mud will live with me forever. So the next thing that I encounter that's hard, that's tough, I'll just be like, you've got no reason not to go full throttle into it. Like, you've got it. And that's the main thing for me.
Okay.
If you want to prove that you're capable of doing something, put in the training, like 18 weeks of training. Put in the training, go kill it, go through the hard shit,
For sure.
and come out of it feeling pretty fantastic.
I would agree with that. I think one of the things that I lean into for decisions in life is a quote that I'm definitely going to paraphrase right now, but the idea of it is do things that both your 10-year-old and 80-year-old self would be proud of.
10 and 8.
10 and 8. So it's leaning into the fact that, like, you obviously are playful when you're a child. You're explorative. You have all these great things. As you're older, you want to be proud of the things that you've achieved and the hard work you've put in. And I think for me, this race matched that.
Yeah.
I'm in my year of exploration and travel. The bucket list was a marathon. The bucket list was the Great Wall. There happened to be those two things on the same thing, like at the same time. It couldn't have been better. So do you need to do the Great Wall Marathon? If you want to question your life decisions, yes. But yeah, like Cal said, doing hard shit in life is really good for
Yeah,
you.
like literally, it can be anything. We've done a Conquer the Wall, absolute hard marathon, but anything,
Hmm.
anything at all. Whether it's like,
Step into the gym for the first time.
yeah, like anything at all.
Yeah.
Just if you know it's hard and you know that you're going to be uncomfortable, it's probably the best thing for you.
Mm.
So one thing that, I know as we're wrapping things up here, one thing that is particularly interesting to me that we didn't touch upon, but I do want to discuss a little bit.
Was it that people were trying to sell me things as I was running my marathon?
I mean, that's just part
I
of the
felt-
course.
Do you
I
want
felt
a
so
shirt?
bad.
No, I don't need a shirt. Would you like a Coke and a Snickers? I'm good.
Yeah,
How
shove
much
me-
are your time?
Will you
shoving
take
me
a photo with me? You look really different.
Shoving me a beer.
I mean, I wouldn't deny that.
I was like, yeah, well,
One thing that's very interesting, and myself as a coach,
Yes.
I've never had this experience before, is doing a challenge with my clients of like, we're doing this together.
Mhm.
And I actually don't know if I should. And this is a very like individual like decision to make. It's like, well, if you and your client both have aligned goals,
Yeah.
and the time is right, I guess you can do that. And I think I've done something like a weightlifting competition where a client
Yeah.
or a former client was there as well. So I was able to kind of coach through that.
Mm.
I could also be making this up, but the point is, how do you decide as a coach to do a challenge with your client, and how does that color the training plan? And
Yeah.
kind of walk me through
absolutely.
that.
Yeah. So I think it really just depends on your intentions, right?
Mhm.
Like I am beyond the point in my fitness career where I'm like striving for winning CrossFit or doing anything particularly like
so
blah.
she wants to win
So-
Conquer the Wall
no,
Marathon
I
instead.
didn't go into it with any of that
Jokes.
intention, right? Like my whole thing is experience life, have fun, connect with people.
Okay.
And for me, the intention of connection and building rapport and having moments shared with clients for me is really, really important because as a person, I have a social job and I'm expected to be quite extroverted and to be out there, but that is my like only extroverted part of my life. The rest of it, I am frolicking in the bushes by myself, like, so if we speak about like trying to meet a man while I'm dating, I'm like, he either needs to be Aquaman swimming out of the ocean or Tarzan swinging through the trees. Like, otherwise I'm not going to be meeting someone. Right.
All right.
So for
Whittle
me,
down the list then.
yes.
Yeah, we're struggling with that.
So for me, it was more a case of just sharing something fun that means a lot to someone else. Because actually what it started with was not the marathon. It was meant to be High Rocks.
Right.
Cal was like, hey, I don't know if you would ever consider this, but like, would you do doubles with me? Because you're the only person that I could think of that I'd want to do it with. And I was like, fuck yeah, let's do it. Then when that didn't happen, it was kind of just that it just naturally happened, right? But what I'm learning more so is that now that I am recreationally fitnessing with people, last year or the end of last year, I think might even be in the beginning of this one, I can't remember, but I jumped into like a CrossFit competition with some other people.
Yeah.
It's like not to coach them, just to be there and share the experience with members.
Sure.
Like you just are able to bond in an entirely different way and you share hardship with other people and it brings people together. And the connection is what I'm after. My intention is connection. It's not the performance.
Yeah.
Sure, the performance is the great, like whatever happens.
Yeah.
But it's how much can I bond and connect with these people? What other, areas of our relationship can I unlock? And for me, that was the greatest part of this. Like getting to know Cal properly because we've never spent that much one-on-one time together.
Yeah.
And like just be so comfortable because of the relationship we had already had, but then get there and be like, we get to share this really hard thing together.
Yeah.
We get to like, we also traveled really well together. We're super chill. Both of us were like, we nearly actually missed our last flight. We nearly did, but unknowingly. But no, it was just,
That was close.
yeah.
So then on the other side of that, Cal, what is it like to have gone through an 18-week cycle and done a race and to have had these really difficult conversations that now will live on with you for the rest of your days, it sounds, having done all of this with your coach? Like, is there something different about it, something special about that? Do you have a certain expectation in a coach now? Like, how does that affect you in this and
Don't
and
break
moving
up with
forward?
me.
That's a great question. I hadn't thought of that. Has it changed my outlook on what a coach can offer me? So originally, obviously, when I first came to Coastal, it was like high rocks. Because I knew it was going to be a big thing. And I knew that I had like the fundamentals to be quite good at it.
Yeah.
And to begin with, I was like doing really well. And I was like, oh yeah, there's an avenue for me to do well in this. But I was like, the classic me, I'm going to podium every time I compete.
Yeah.
Which obviously quite quickly as High Rocks grew, I realized was not going to be the case. So then we'd had a conversation about High Rocks, because Tam had coached me through my Hong Kong race. And then I was like, right, what's next? So that's when we had that conversation. And then I realized in fact, it was Tam that had spoken to me about like goals for the year. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, when I'm 80, do I want to be like, hey guys, like when I've got my grandchildren, hopefully, sitting on my knee, I'm like, yeah, I did a High Rocks once with someone. Oh, that's cool. Like,
Sweet
it's
grandpa.
like, no, actually,
Yeah.
I ran the Great Wall of China. I did the Conquer the Wall marathon. Like, I don't know, it just provided me a bit more of context, a bit more of like a different way of thinking. And I was like, yeah, I want to start doing things that it doesn't always have to be obviously a Conquer the Wall marathon on the Great Wall, but I wanted to start doing things that, as Tam said, that outlook of when you look back on your life, you want to be like, wow, like I did this. That was a real cool thing that I did. And I think I was in my comfort zone. Like, doing a High Rocks it's obviously not, you're out of your comfort zone in terms of you're trying to exert yourself physically.
Sure.
But I was very much in my comfort zone because it was something that I knew and something that I thought I was good at.
Something within your
Whereas
wheelhouse.
I've just done something that I certainly wouldn't class as being good at it, but it showed me that I've got the grit, stamina, mental toughness to get through an event like that.
Yeah.
Which has given me so much more, so much more than what it would have done had I just stuck to my everyday sort of fitness regime.
Yeah.
Or training for something like that.
And then for the training itself and the race itself, how much was Tammy's presence a factor? Knowing that as you're preparing, Tammy's going to do the race with you.
Yeah,
and
sorry,
as
I
you're in the
haven't answered
race.
that question, have I? So, has it changed my outlook on a coach? No, I don't think it has. Because I do feel as though our relationship coach-client is, I think to me is a little bit different to what I've ever had previously. I've never had a coach before. But I know people in the industry that maybe don't operate like Tam. Has it changed what I expect? No, I don't think so. I think it has shown me what you can form, because like I've never felt like Tam was I've never felt like a client. I've felt more than that, which is obviously testament to you, because you're very good at your job. But yeah, it is more than that. It's more than that. It's a friendship. Like, you've formed a partnership with somebody. That's what I'd say this has been. And would I have gone and enjoyed doing the Conquer the Wall marathon on my own? Fuck no, I wouldn't have. It definitely made my experience knowing that I was doing it with you.
That's awesome.
For sure. As Tam said, and we mentioned it earlier when we were talking about the board, right? We were saying how doing something as an individual is great, but the amount of growth you're going to get if you do something as a community and as a group is so much more.
Yeah. And your community can be as small as you and your coach.
Yeah, simple as that. But it didn't end up being like that, because when we got there, we realized that the actual community of trail runners that were there were just like amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's shown me, rephrasing the question, rather than changing my expectations from a coach, it's shown me the potential of what you can have with a coach.
I see.
For sure.
Right on. I mean, thank you for just illuminating that subject. I think about it myself, like, do I have any clients who I have a client who wanted to dunk a basketball into like a standard 10-foot hoop.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool, man, good luck with that.
You have fun with that, man.
I mean, I gave him a program, but I wasn't like, you know what, I'm going to go for it too. Fuck it. Let's see
I
if
guess
I
in
can
a way,
do that.
this started the opposite way, because it was something that I was going to do. And I was like, I mean, if you want to join, I haven't signed up for it yet.
Yeah.
We can go based on the dates you're available. So, yeah.
And what was good, and I'm going to take a little bit of credit for this.
Okay, sure.
Because of because I was quite rigid when I could go.
Yeah.
So I think Tam would have originally entered that first race.
Yeah.
And that race does not spend much time on the Great Wall. You spend a lot of time in and around the wall. Whereas the race that we did, you spent. I think we were like at least 75 to 80% of it was on the wall.
I agree with that. To be honest, I wasn't really taking in the scenery when we were on it. I had to go the next day to check out the sunrise
Yeah.
and really like
Some of
bask
the
in it.
content you've got is unbelievable.
Nice.
From my eyes
People need
only.
to see that. Yeah.
Now, I mean, this whole race
Yeah.
experience,
Uh-huh.
you know, this monk who may or may not have existed.
This random
I am-
mythical man.
I'm
It was
95
Avatar.
95% sure he's real.
And
I'd love to meet him.
I mean, yeah, hopefully he's a podcast fan. And then you high-fiving people while falling down
While
gullies
dripping
probably.
down the stairs.
I mean, this is all amazing. The one question I have left.
Yes.
This is the last question.
The last one.
This race was in China.
It
and you were
was.
in you guys were in China for a couple of days.
Ooh, good, yes.
I can only assume you picked up a bit of Chinese. So I need you guys to tell me one Chinese phrase, one Chinese word, some bit of Mandarin Chinese that you learned
Ni hao.
in this race. I'm sure you've known ni hao before you got there. So you must have picked up something or had to pick up something out of necessity.
Firstly,
because of the
didn't know
race.
Ni hao before there.
Oh, really?
Oh, I don't speak Mandarin to anyone.
So what does ni hao mean?
I think it's hello.
It is.
Okay,
There you
good.
go.
I was like, it's either hello or good morning.
Yeah, Cal's been like really contemplating
The
this.
one that they say,
Ah,
gauche, something like that. They cheer us on.
Oh,
加油.
Jayo!
no, yeah, maybe it was
They said that.
That's
a little
I
kid.
mean, the
That-
only thing I'm going to say is show courage.
Do you know what-
He was able to translate into English. He said show courage.
In English.
Yeah. Whatever that is in Chinese, I need to know.
Shit. Now you put me on the spot. I don't know.
That's okay. We can find out.
All
Yeah.
right. But
Unbelievable.
do you guys know what 加油 means?
Jayo!
Like, literally.
Let's go.
加油 means add oil.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Yeah, like add
Wasn't
fuel.
this?
that was
No.
a song, wasn't it?
Yeah. Was that not like
Jayo.
Jayo?
That's definitely not
that's
Chinese.
that's Bollywood.
That's
Oh,
Bollywood.
my bad.
Yeah, my bad. My bad.
It sounds like
Add oil.
technically-
Add oil.
add oil.
Add oil, like,
Yeah,
as in-
like add
like
fuel
add
to the car.
fire?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Wow.
So that's what it means. Like just keep going.
It was really cute because you
Yeah.
would have like the tourists were like towards the back end of the races where the tourists started coming onto the wall, right? They weren't
Yeah.
there for the beginning bit, but
Not the ones that are trying to sell you shit.
not the ones that are trying to sell you shit. That's not tourists. That's the people like the market stall.
Do you know
people
what? That
in
was
the
another
towers.
thing that motivated me. I knew that those women, like fairly elderly women, had trekked a
Yeah.
fair amount of the wall
Yeah.
with all this stuff
Yeah.
on their back or however they carried it. And I was like,
Yeah.
I can do
you
this.
need to finish
The
this
merch
race. This
Sherpas.
is, yeah, come on.
Right on.
They were very inspirational.
I
All
can't
right.
remember.
Ni hao. 加油. That's good.
Jayo!
Right on. Well, Tammi, Cal, thank you so much for kind of painting us a picture of Conquer the Wall, not
Yes.
the Beijing Marathon, which is another race.
I think so. We don't know at this point. We'll have to Google.
And if you want to run a marathon, don't do Conquer the Wall. But if you want to conquer some fucking hard shit, do Conquer the Wall.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
And have a good race for the next one.
Thanks.
There
Tam.
isn't going to be one.
Thanks for having me. Also, actually, just to add to this, Tam has, since doing this, since running the race, has been on every trail known to man in Hong Kong. So I've been like getting these pictures and videos. I was like, she's fucking crazy. Like, just, yeah.
It's because I've been freed
I've been
from.
like, yeah, I just did a 5K. What did you do? Oh, I've just been doing this mad trail. I was like, wow, okay. This lady's built different.
I have been relinquished from preparing for an event where I have to be mindful of, I need to be like rested and recovered for this. And I was like, screw it, I'm going hard. So like literally day after the marathon,
There
went
it is.
for a
That's,
hike
that's the
to watch
main
the
line of
sunrise.
nature
Yeah.
that you want.
Then went for like a 35-kilometer trail run on
35.
Thursday.
Just
And then I
built-
did 2 really hard trails yesterday.
Built
But it's
slightly
not because I'm
different.
trying to like get out on the trails and get movement. I just want to be in nature.
Hey, you don't
and
need
see
to justify
sunsets.
yourself.
No, it's fine. Everyone has their drug.
I
For
love
you, it's
it.
nature.
And
You are
it's
mad
free.
impressive.
It's free.
All right. Sweet.
Chris is done.
Peace.
Before we say goodbye, here's one crazy statistic for you. Did you know that almost 40% of people who listen to the show don't actually subscribe to it? Now, I didn't think that was a big deal until I actually learned about the power of hitting subscribe. For you, the listener, you get to stay up to date when we drop episodes on a weekly basis. But for us as a podcast, it really helps our visibility and helps us attract great brands and great listeners to help grow this podcast. So if you enjoyed this episode or you're a big fan of the show, please do us a massive favor and hit subscribe. Thank you so much.